Okay, so we'll just change, we'll actually make directory, and we'll put in white game. And we'll do git clone of the WAT project template. So this is going to download 3 different projects. One is a Windows Phone, one's the Visual Studio installer, and one's the Windows 8 application. So that we have the installable template, and then here's the important one for us, which is the Windows 8 development project. So we're just going to have a look at what that looks like. Over here we can see a WAT folder, and then there's a Windows 8.1 development project. Click into that. So I take that URL and I'll open up this Windows 8 project, and there should be a config file in here, config.json, and replace this particular URL with that particular URL, and then we'll run this. And by default there's going to be a few problems with this, but hopefully you'll get the idea. Okay, this is just a default splash screen image, and we've got this weird green box on the top, but we have our game running. One of the things, this will work perfectly fine with a mouse and key, with your mouse by swiping. But when we touch the screen, you'll start to see assets. Well, it doesn't work properly. You can see the screen jumping and moving. This is because there's default, the browser is accepting some of the default touch events, so we need to fix that. And we also need to fix that top play canvas area. So, okay, we'll fix the CSS problem first. And we'll go into default injected CSS, which in a WAT template is the thing which gets injected into the application. And we'll just change, we add a CSS folder here, and we will change one of the properties, which is ms-touch action. We'll just set this to none, and this will mean that all of the touch events will now be handled by us in the browser, and it will just pass the touch events over as sort of mouse events, but it's not going to do any of the zooming, panning, which the original app did. So now if we start this one up, now it should work with touch with any luck. So now when we're touching the screen, when I'm touching the screen, you have to take my word for it. It's you're not getting that default kind of movement. There's an odd sort of artifact in that there's a white border around the whole page. I'm not quite sure as to why that is. It's probably just a rounding error. So what I'm going to do next is just do some more customizations. So go back to the page. So if we go back to the config file of this WAT application template, we have a number of different things that we can enable or disable. I'm going to just disable some of them because they're not really relevant. So we'll just disable the app bar. And for the time being, we'll disable the nav bar as well. False. This is the navigation which the WAT template puts into the application for us. I'll leave the live tile up there. Notifications, redirects, ignore that for the moment. Remove the header. False. And I'll remove the search bar as well. Okay. And if I just go here and change the background color, or inject the background color to be something which is just dark, like black, then hopefully that should improve the overall look of the application. I've still got that white artifact, never mind, I'll figure out how that fix that in a moment. So this game now running full screen, looks a lot better. Okay, stop that. Go back. I've actually produced a number of logos somewhere for this. So if I just pop into this one here and look inside, I'm sure I just put them inside. images. Yep, yeah. We'll just take those and I'll paste them into our application. Yes to all. Yes to all. Oh, yes. Things like I removed the start screen. I improved a couple of the way that the kind of edges expand, and then we now have the game working in touch using the WAT template. Now, one of the things to note, however, about this is that if we go into settings and I switch this over into, well, switch the Wi-Fi off, what happens is the app, goes offline, because fundamentally what we're doing is we're wrapping that game. We're injecting a few things into the app, but fundamentally all that code is up on a server, and so if you're offline, that's not going to work. So if we switch it back on, hopefully I'll connect it up. The app does restart, but there's a little bit, there needs to be some maybe work done here just to make this game work better. And I guess if you were paused there and then you lost connectivity, that's going to suck pretty badly. Maybe there was something we could do about that, but I'm not sure. So when I was working on this, I kind of thought to myself, well, actually, what's the WAT application template giving us above and beyond the native JavaScript platform? And we could just re-implement this now, take this application, all the assets, and just drop it into a fresh application, and it probably will work offline. So let me just show you how you do that. So I've got the documents, the Dragon Fury application here, right? So there's all my assets. So now if I go into, say, Visual Studio, and go File, New Project, and I'll just do a JavaScript blank application. And I'll take all of those assets from Dragonfly, so Dragon Fury, sorry, not Dragonfly. Copy those over into App 10. Right, so all those assets are in there. The default for a WinA application is default.html, so I'm going to just change that to index.html. Index.html. So it will start the start page now. I'll go over to index.html. Just going to go and add that -ms touch action and make it none. And then if we start this application, we will come across one error. The loader kind of bums out when it's trying to load certain objects, and I'm not quite sure why this is, but rather than investigating it any further, what I'm going to do is just suppress the error throwing, and then just load the application again. And we have play canvas load up, and the game runs, and all of our touch stuff works as we'd expect. Boom. Oof. Okay, get the idea. This is all working pretty nicely on SnapView. So, and this is true of the WAT application template as well. You can play this actual game as a snapped application as well, which is nice. But because it's a native application and it's not running with a centralized server, if I switch off the Wi-Fi, this is fine as well. Oop, quit play. You notice that flashing door in the background? That's actually the background color of the app seeping through. So if you change that to black, it doesn't flash like that. Again, it's pretty simple to change. Okay, so that's the application built into 2 different platforms using the WAT application template and then a native JavaScript implementation. Personally, I prefer the native application because it works offline, but both will work and both are pretty straightforward to port the web app directly to Windows application. So thank you.